करना उनका डाइवर्ट कर दिया टेंशन हर चीज में।
Absolutely, इतना ज़्यादा डाइवर्ट हो रहा है। भाई की बात बिल्कुल नहीं है, सुबह को कुछ नहीं तो शाम को उनका माइंड ज़्यादा उस पे होता है, like long term. Exactly. But again, I think it's justified to check if parents want them to take something.
I think I'll stand here. You should get me into the camera. I can see around here, so it's fine. Yeah, I think we'll make a start because we're going to be live as well. It'll be recorded, so if you miss anything and you want to watch the video or part of it, you can just go to the school website and go to video gallery. And then you'll probably see a couple of years back as well, 2024, 25, and this one as well. It's going to be a bit different this year though, because of the subjects lines we're offering. The structure we're doing now for the SACE completion is slightly different. I'll just, so we can just let them know that we're starting. We started. You can leave the door open. You can leave the door open. It's fine. There's not much noise coming. They can leave it open. Yeah. All right. So I'd just like to begin with welcome. It's good to see our faces in these sessions as well. Otherwise, I'll be just talking to the camera. Like all presentations, we'd like to start with acknowledging the land that we meet on, and it belongs to the Kaurna people, and we pay our respects to them. Just with the bar, if you need to go to the bathroom, just walk outside and just turn this corner. There's a female staff toilet. You can all use that one. It's just one cubicle. We just lock the door. So you can use that one, that's the closest one. And in case of an emergency, just follow our instructions. If we need to evacuate, we're going to head over to the table. Hopefully we don't need to. If you do have any questions, after each slide or each part of the slide, you can ask the questions. I'll answer them as I'm presenting. Or you can just note it down, or if you have a question at the end, you can ask me the question at the end of the presentation as well. Yeah, so I'm scheduled to finish it within an hour with questions, maybe shorter. We'll see how we go. So I just want to begin with just what the SACE is and some information about the SACE, and then I'll head over to and talk about the subject selection process that we went through with the students. So these slides are the slides I went through with the students last week, and we had head of department and teachers come and present to them regarding information about the subjects that are going to be offered, and just talking about the topics, the type of assessments that is expected, and some possible pathways as well. So the SACE is the South Australian Certificate of Education. It's called the SACE. In Western Australia, it's WACE, Western Australian Certificate of Education. Victoria is VCE. I think Sydney is the one, New South Wales is the one that's different. HSC, High School Certificate. But to get your SACE certificate, you need to accumulate 200 credits. Within that 200 credits, at least 70 credits need to be at a stage 2 level. But this is different to ATA. So SACE is one organisation that looks after high school certificates, and then the SATAC is another organisation that does the ATA calculations for university admissions, and they're two separate ones. So you can get a SACE and not get an ATA, or you can get a SACE and be eligible for an ATA. So there are those options. So some of the credits that students do accumulate are compulsory requirements, and most of them, will come from subjects they choose that they need for the career goals. So these are the compulsory ones. Now, this is stage 1 scoring, so EIF, and then the stage 2 equivalence of that is AIF. So they explore their identities and futures. And then stage 2 is they actually activate, they act upon it. And so they're both 10 credits. We get students to complete, most schools get students to complete this in year 10, and we get them to do this stage 2 version in year 11. So right now, this semester, your son or daughter are currently working on EIF as one of their subjects, and they need to pass that. If they don't pass it, usually students who don't pass are students who don't submit the work, because it's a subject that if you submit the work, you're most likely going to pass. And in the cases where they don't, then they need to repeat that subject in the following semesters. And then we also have the numeracy and the literacy requirements. For the numeracy requirements, one semester, 10 credits is enough. As long as they pass that, they'll meet that requirement. Doesn't matter which math subject they do. And for the literacy requirement, any English subject, as long they need to accumulate 20 credits, and so that's equivalent to 2 semesters.
Can you go back, please?
Yeah.
So these all credits here, like 10 credits for exploring identities, then 10 for numeracy, then 20 for. So are they count towards data?
They're counted towards the 200 credits. Only the stage 2 subjects are counted towards ATA, and I'll go through that in more detail. So the SACE does give flexibilities to choose on how students want to finish their SACE, and these are the options. So by doing SACE subjects, the ones we do at school, stage 1 subjects, stage 2 subjects, we have VET, so vocational education training, and there are thousands of organizations out there, interstate as well, that provide these courses, like Certificate 2, Certificate 3, and they go towards, because they spend time on completing it, that goes towards their SACE credits as well, depending. So each certification would give a certain number of hours, and that would correspond to a certain number of credits. There's community learning as well, and the students who do it can know, or that they'll be aware of it, and then they just need to let us know, and we can fill in the required forms for them to get it. But this is not usually something that traditionally see students do. University studies. Now this one here, it is university courses at a university, either Flinders University or Adelaide University, and they are at that level. So we only advise students who are capable of doing this to do it, because it has a great return in terms of the grades that they get. If they get a certain grade, and we'll go through that in detail as well. And we have TAFE studies, so if students are doing some subjects in TAFE, that can go towards their SACE completion as well. So this is to do with the SACE completion. I'm not talking about ATA or the university admissions. I've done these in colours because these are the most common ones that we do here, and we have students with.
Excuse me. The break courses are for stage 1 or stage 2?
So if it's a certificate 2, then it goes towards stage 1. Certificate 3 and above go towards stage 2 credits.
These colleges provide break courses for the student?
We don't run any of our courses. We only connect with a company that may make it a bit cheaper, so a discount for students if they want to do it. And the one we're connected with is more as a business, and it's just 100% online, self-paced. And we just once you use our school information, they do give a discount. That's just one company. But we do have a lot of students doing it outside. Some students may prefer to go after school 1 day a week for 1 hour to do it in a class where they're sort of led by an instructor or a tutor to finish it with them, and so they don't have to do it themselves. Because students who maybe maybe are not good with organisation skills or time management would prefer to do it that way. But as long as it's a certificate 3 and above, it will go towards the stage 2, which will go towards the ATA calculation. And we'll go through details and examples through on that as well. So the SACE subjects that we offer, all the SACE subjects, they are made up of investigations. Some of them are performances, and it's usually not the ones that we offer here. And then we have other assessment tasks that demonstrate skills, knowledge, and personal capabilities, and like through tests, and all of the different type of assessments, maybe oral presentations as well. At stage 2 level, some subjects will have an end-of-year exam. Not all the subjects have an end-of-year exam. All subjects have an external assessment. Some of them are a written exam. The languages have an oral exam as well. But some subjects have an assessment where they finish at home. and then we send to the SACE board, and they have employed people who mark it. Some of the exams are written pen and paper, supervised at school, and some of them supervised at school on electronic devices, which we call e-exams. And all is at stage 2. This is going to be some students are going to do this in year 11 and 12. The external assessments are worth, all of them are worth 30%. So 70% comes from school assessments that teachers grade and put up, and 30% comes from an assessment that's marked externally.
So this 13%, which is an external exam.
Or an assessment.
Yeah, an assessment. Where is it conducted generally? Like in the school?
In the school, yeah.
And like the paper will come to you guys, then you will distribute. That
Yes.
will be an external examination kind of thing.
Yes.
So you won't be preparing the question paper
No.
for that.
So yes, it's everyone in South Australia, depending on the subject they do, just say they're doing physics, all students in South Australia will do the same physics paper that's sent from the SACE board. It comes in advance, we keep in a secure place, and then we on the day and the exact time we get the students to do the exam during it's usually 130 minutes, and then once they're done, we close it, we package it, and then the courier comes and picks it up straight away. And it's marked externally by teachers employed by the SACE board. Now these slides, you'll have access to these slides later. I've got some links and you can access the SACE website, just got that there. So the subjects that your child is currently doing or has done, in semester 1, they've completed 20 credits of integrated learning. So they've done 2 integrated learning subjects in 1 semester, and they've got 20 credits and they've completed it. Whether they passed or failed it, they'll still get the credits for these ones. But if they did not submit any work and there's no evidence of their work, then they wouldn't get any credits, so they'll be behind with the credits. Semester 2, currently, they're enrolled in another elective, and that elective is under integrated learning as well. And they're currently working on that for another 10 credits. But for English, instead of the normal year 10 English, they're doing stage 1 essential English, and that's 10 credits, and they need to pass this. It's the easiest level of English within the SACE, and they need to pass this to get that 10 credits going towards the literacy requirement. So when it was 20 credits, so this is the first 10, and then if they pass another next year, first semester, if they pass English again, in second semester, if they don't want the English anymore, they can drop it. So if they're weak in English and they don't need it for interstate study, or they don't need it for the courses here, then they can decide not to continue with it. They're also doing the other compulsory subject, which is EIF, and that's 10 credits as well. Now this year we've got students to start one SACE subject other than these ones this year, so they can have the opportunity to finish the stage 2 version in year 11. So they can concentrate on getting a good enough grade so they can do less subjects in year 12 and spend that time on the more difficult ones that they choose. And we offered a couple of subjects, and the most popular ones were nutrition and psychology. And there was business as well, but that wasn't as popular as these two. So students are either doing nutrition and psychology with the intention of finishing stage 2 of what which one they started next year. But if they're not doing well in this and they decide that I won't be able to do the stage 2 version, then we will give them we will offer another stage 1 subject within that line, so they're not disadvantaged.
So, as for example, if someone study nutrition in year 10, so does he or she can take psychology in year 11 or year 12?
If they start,
Now, my daughter is studying nutrition at this moment.
Yes.
But, it's very difficult to get good score from the nutrition.
Yeah.
And also she wants to get psychology for stage 1 and psychology for stage 2. So is this possible?
Because of the students finishing next year in year 11, there may not be them, because there won't be many students wanting to do it in year 12 because they finished the stage 2 version of it. It may not open, the class may not open. if it begins again with the year 10s, and then we do have a stage 2 class, and if the school allows and the timetables allows it, and the student hasn't done it and is able to do it, then they may do it. But we don't recommend students to repeat a subject that they've done. So we'll guide the students to choose a subject that they'll be capable of doing well in instead.
Getting the good score in HR. So psychology is the better than nutrition, because it's very difficult to get good score in nutrition, and also psychology is the good subject for getting good score for HR. And also she has nutrition at this moment in year 10. So if the college manages time for student, as for example, if she start studying psychology for the year 11 and also start studying psychology for year 12 as well for stage 2, so I think it will be a better option for them to get good score in HR.
We can discuss that with the students individually to see. Because of the jump, we sort of went with this structure. But with getting the better grade, that's purely depending on the student's performance in that subject. Every student performs differently, and I'll go through the scaling and the grades they get within that subject and how that can affect the ATAR. And then we could do like scenarios with the subject choices students choose, and then see what comes out of it. But we'll get to that's more something we can discuss later on in more detail. So these are the compulsory ones, and like I said, if a student is unable to achieve a passing grade, so for stage 1 subjects we don't do plus and minus, so it's just A, B, C, D, E, and for stage 2 subjects we have the plus and minuses. So the minimum grade a student needs to get to pass a stage 1 subject is C, and for stage 2 subjects is C minus. If the student is unable to pass any of these compulsory ones, then they need to redo it. For the literacy and numeracy, they need to, if they can't pass it, then we get them to do an English that they're able to pass, or a math that they're able to pass. And I'll go through that in more detail.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just had a question with regards to numeracy. Is it just the advanced or
Any
basics at
math.
this stage?
The numeracy ones are any math SACE subjects. So there's essential math, general math, and mathematics.
And each one has got a credit of 10 itself?
Yeah, each semester is worth 10 credits.
Thank you.
And so this is the pathway that your child would most likely follow. So before we had a lot, we expected a lot of the credits to come from the year 11 studies, year 11 level. So what we've done is students were doing electives in year 10, and so we said, why not make use of this and put it under a subject that allows it to, and so we put the electives that they've done under integrated learning, which will allow them to accumulate credits towards their SACE completion. And we've also introduced the opportunity for them to select a stage 1 subject. And in year 11, we sort of, we give them the opportunity to continue that into stage 2 and do the stage 2 version of that to get the 20 credits, because stage 2 subjects mainly go for a whole year, which is worth 2 semesters. So they obtain 20 credits from that. The EIF, like I said, it will move over in year 11 to AIF, which is the stage 2 version of EIF. They do, in one line, they choose an English subject. They do 2 semesters, and then, like I said, if they want to drop one in semester 2, then we look into that, and I'll see what they want to choose for year 12, and then if they have enough credits, and then we make our decision based on that. So it's purely individual based. And then we have, again, 2 semesters of mathematics, depending which math they choose to go with, which one they are able to get into, and I'll go through that as well. And then, which allows them to choose 1 to 2 more subjects at year 11. So this one here is optional. They need to choose 1 more subject for year 11. And then they can have the 6th line free, which means 6 lessons a week they can have to start studying. And we need to encourage students to take ownership in their studies and not use that time to just, waste time, but to actually make time to either work on these subjects or to possibly even start a bit early if they want. And that's up to them. But students can use all 6 lines, or they can use 5 lines as well. In year 12, that leaves them a minimum of 3 subjects that they can do. We have some students doing a languages subject next year as well, Arabic or Turkish, stage 2, which means that they'll have credits going towards the ATA calculation, meaning they can, even the minimum would be 2 subjects in year 12, like a part-time student. However, I usually see students picking up an extra subject just in case, because if they didn't perform well in the previous one, year 11 in AIF, then they want to replace that with a better performing subject. Usually that happens when students don't take year 11 seriously. And then in year 12, the students who want to do university studies apply at the end of year 11, and they need, there's a requirement for that. And then they do it in year 12, so then that line opens up as well. And if they're doing university studies, which means they don't need to do one of these ones, or if they're doing vet, then that replaces one of the year 12 subjects as well. So just doing the minimum at the school will earn them 210 credits. Okay, so 10 credits more than what's expected. But we have students maybe doing more. So I've added this. This is linked to the handbook, the curriculum handbook, with the information about the subjects and just the SACE in general. And these are the subjects that are offered to students for next year. These are the compulsory ones, of course, and then these are the elective subjects that they can choose from. These are the ones that they're either doing this year or they've done already. And some of the information will appear here. So we have a requirement for students choosing the math subjects and promotion to the SACE for the math. After looking at our data for past years and student performances in going up to year 12 and looking at what they got at the end of year 12 for those subjects, choosing the math subjects that they chose, and collaborating with the maths department. So these are the requirements, and we told this to students before as well. And so they do have this semester to actually pick up the grades if they need to. So for mathematics, this is the mathematics leading into mathematical methods in year 12. That we will allow students to average at least an 85 grade in the year 10 math, and that's what the data shows. Because students who cannot achieve that don't perform well in it, and half the time fail the subject, and use all that time to study for it when they can actually perform, use some of that time on the other subjects and get a better grade. So that's all supported with some research we've done. Now, with the mathematics that leads to specialist mathematics, we said 95 plus. Now, before, previously, this specialist mathematics was a requirement from engineering. It is not anymore. And so therefore, students learn what they need to learn in the mathematical methods, the skills. But we do an extra topic for students who are going to do engineering. We teach them integration by parts, but it's something that they learn first year. And that's all they need. They're just the skills from mathematical methods. And then just that piece of that content will make it easier for them in the first year of engineering. And so usually, if not many students pick this subject, then it doesn't really open up, because again, it is not a requirement. And then for general mathematics, and this is the content covered in this is slightly different, does not have calculus, but it has everything you need maybe once they start, like when they invest in, or they borrow money, if they're going to buy a car or anything like that, the tax, superannuation, that's taught all in general mathematics, not in mathematics. This is statistics and calculus, and this is the rest. 65% grade or more in year 10 math. And then we have the essential mathematics, and that's more for like people who do the carpentry or that trades, and the mathematics are required for that. And students who are unable to achieve 65, then we say that essential math is best suited for you. Because with these subjects, they're able to get a higher grade, so their performance affects their ATA more than the scaling, which I'll show you. And if a student is eligible to do one of these mathematics, let's just say a student chooses general mathematics, and at the end of semester 1 they fail, because if there's a numeracy requirement, we'll semester 2 we'll get the student to do the essential mathematics with the aim of then passing and getting the required credits. Otherwise, they may not get their SACE at the end.
And sorry, brother, the credits for all the different strands or status of mathematics provided in here is same, the weightage, or is it different?
It's the same credits.
It's the same.
Yeah. It's just it's math but with different topics.
Right.
And we have students who want to get really high ATA and they don't need mathematical methods. We suggest do general mathematics because they're more likely to get an A+ because it's just slightly easier than it's easier than the mathematics because of the topics covered.
And one of the point that you mentioned previously that a 95% is necessary, and if there is not like more students or something, it will not open up. So in that situation, if someone wants to go in, the school is not offering, how do we cater for the student in there?
Yeah, so if a student, because it's not a requirement for any of the courses here,
Yep.
They're not going to be disadvantaged in getting into the course they want to get into, but if they really want to do that math, we provide those resources for them to learn on their own.
Yeah.
And if they have any questions, they can ask the mathematics teacher. But if they really want to do it and get marked and graded for it, then they can check the senior colleges to see if they offer any twilight classes, any of the subjects they're unable to do here. And we have students sometimes like we don't we have a current student doing ancient studies now because it's not for example, they want to do that.
Yeah.
Or finish it in year 11 and not doing year 12. Yes.
So brother, one question that I have here is like, as this
Thank you.
is pre-math and methods and specialists, when it comes to scaling, do they all weight the same thing or like in terms of scaling varies with these subjects? Like if you have
Yeah.
specialist, it gives you more credits than the normal maths.
Yeah, I'll go through that in the scaling part of the slide. Scaling is a bit different too. With the sciences, and the same thing we did with the science department as well. And to do chemistry or physics, there's a requirement from both year 10 math and science, and at least a 75% grade for both subjects to do that because they do have the math in there. And if students are unable to substitute a value into an equation, rearrange it, then they're disadvantaged. And so they do require them to have that math component, the numeracy component, as well as a science background. For biology, it's just the science, 65% or higher for science. And then alternatively, if they're unable to get any of those, like 65, they get lower than 65 for the science, year 10 science, then we suggest they do the other sciences that are offered, like nutrition, psychology. There are some others, there is another science, but it is not offered here. So if a student fails both semesters in biology, chemistry, or physics, these are like the heavyweight sciences that we say, in year 11, then data shows that they actually failed it in year 12. And if they fail, they don't get the 20 credits, and so they don't get enough credits to be eligible for an ATA. So we ask students to choose another subject other than those three. If they fail the first semester, we encourage them to change it for second semester. But if they push because it's a prerequisite, and we allow them, and then they fail again. And so it's the pattern showing that you're not going to finish the SACE, and we want you to finish the SACE, and we want you to maximize your ATA. And so the ATA is, again, separate to the SACE. It is the Australian Tertiary Admission Rank, and it is called ATA all around Australia, but it's not comparing the students from this state to the other state. These slides will be provided at the end, so you can take a picture, or you can look at
Sorry,
the
we just missed out the first part.
It's all good. It's all good. Just say you don't take a picture of all of them.
Thank you.
But yeah. So the way it works is they rank. So the student performs. They get their grade at the end. Right? We call that the university aggregate. and then they in South Australia they rank all the students. They say, okay, highest one out of 90 on top, and then next one, all the way to the lowest one, and then they have the rank, the ATA values 99.95, and it goes down by 0.05, and then the top students get the highest rankings, and it goes down by that. So that changes every year because students are different every year. The grades they're going to get is going to be different, and the subjects they do is going to be different. The combination. So the ranking conversion table changes, scaling changes as well. And so based on that, as you know, the medicine field would want to get the top students, so they'll get like 99 plus students. They want to get top ranking students, and they have a separate assessment for that too. And usually engineering is 80 plus, and then you got teaching with 70, 75, construction management 70, 75, and then it goes down from there. But there are other ways to get in. That's something that Career Advisor will discuss later on. Regarding different ways, different pathways to get into universities, because there are separate tests students can do that allows them to get into universities with a lower ATA. So again, it is a measure of a student's overall achievement in the SACE compared with other students, and a student's goal is to produce the best score they are capable of. And we're trying to emphasize this to the students, choosing subjects that they're able to get a high grading, not because I want to do this subject. No, choose the subjects you believe you'll get really good in, because you're going to be ranked based on that. Stage 1 subjects do not count towards the student's ATA, only stage 2, and then we have VET and university studies and any recognised learning that they do. The data is calculated from the best 90 credits of stage 2 subjects. This book goes through all of that information, and I've just sort of bookmarked some important information that it would be best to look through. And there's a link. You click on this picture and it will take you to the online. There's no hard copies. I don't do hard copies anymore. It's just online on the SACE website. And so the ATA is calculated this way. It's the best 90 credits. So this is what they have in there. And so this student did these subjects. Okay, these are all 20 credits except for AIF, which is 10. Adding up all these credits gives you 90. And so what they do is there's a scale score. And the scale score is based on scaling, and I'll go through that in detail. They add up all of those. So the first 60 credits are set credits, but then the last 30 credits we call flexible option. So students can do VET, but only 20 credits goes towards the flexible option. So it might be the VET, it may be university studies, or maybe a stage 2 subject. It can be any of those. It can be any of the other two cognitive. It won't be cognitive learning. It just depends on what's done. And then they get the university aggregate, which is out of 90. So this student got 59.15 out of 90. And there's no ATA here because the ATA changes every year. So I've got one example here. So this student did these subjects over here, and these are set 60 credits. Okay. And this is what the student got. Student got a B+ for biology, A- for psychology, and B+ for general math. And so out of 15, these are out of 15. So the subject out of 15, they got these values. Now, SACE only gives letter grades. It's only when it goes to SATAC for ATA calculation that it's converted to values. And so A+ is 15 out of 15. A is 14 out of 15. Okay? So this is equivalent to B+. And then what happens is that these subjects are scaled, and then what we do is they add the scale score, and this is out of 90 credits. So this student got 74.25, so closest 0.05 out of 90. And then there's the ranking, based on the ranking, and this ranking is because there's no ranking for this year, the ATA is only set at the end of the year once all the students that year get all their grades. And so they get all this and then they rank. And so I based this one on from 2021 to 2025. I've got the average because it plays around. Because some years is a bit more lower and some higher. And so this is what this came out to be, this ATA, which means that this student got higher than 87.69% of South Australia students who graduated this year.
So what is that 92%, 92.2?
This I'll explain it later for bonus points. Yeah. So the scaling is information on the scaling, and in short, what it's saying is the scaling is a process that allows SATAC to compare the overall performance of students in every possible combination of SACE subjects. So that they get, let's just say there was 500 students who did physics and chemistry, and they want to compare these two subjects. So they get the grades, the scores of the grades of those 500 students who did both those subjects, physics and chemistry. And they found that majority of them, 300 or 500, got higher in physics than in chemistry. So they say that, okay, that year physics was easier than chemistry. And based on how much different it was, they say that physics will scale up a bit more than chemistry. That's it. And if it was lower, then it'll go down. And so they combine, they compare all combinations, they pair up all the subjects. Okay, if two subjects weren't chosen by any students, then there's no scaling required for those. It's not taken into account. And then they just place them in order, which one's the hardest that year to the lowest, and then they assign some scaling. I see scaling only important for students who are fighting for the 99.95. If the student's if they're fighting for the 99.95, that's where it's very important. Other than that, it's based on student performance in that subject.
That's why we are here.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's choosing those. Scaling is not a measure of the individual performance in the subject. A student's overall grade tells them how they perform in that subject. Scaling is about comparing overall performance in all SACE subjects. That's what I explained. Now, there are misconceptions because I had to present this to students because they were choosing subjects based purely on them. We know what students are getting, and we know a standard student is choosing a hard subject just because of scaling. So we had to explain how it affects it and how much it affects it by so they understand. So just some misconceptions. So it does not guarantee an advantage. And this is for the majority. Okay, the majority of the students would be in the middle of the ATA range. So don't rely on scaling to boost your ATA. Subject grades matter more than assumptions about scaling. So this is just points I've got across to the students. So we want students to be realistic about their pathway. So we have, we don't want students getting a C for science and then wanting to do medicine. Or they're average C in year 10, but they want to do medicine. Data shows that it's just really hard, really hard. Choose subjects that match your strengths and interests. That's when that's going to help. Understand prerequisites, okay? Here and interstate. And students who want to go overseas as well. So they need to do that research or with the career advisor as well. They need their help. Focus on performance. So a higher grade in general subject can contribute more than a low grade in the scale subject. And I'll run it through. So, for example, student achieving an A in general maths will outperform a C in methods. And this is true. And we got students according to that. So this is an example. So student, same subjects, only difference is this one general maths, this one methods. Now this student got an A minus, so got a B in methods, and a student who can get a B in methods can get an A plus in general, an A and A plus. Okay. Normally, what I see a student who gets a C in methods and can get up to an A minus or up to an A minus in general as well. So for this scenario, I didn't make the difference too much, just to show you how much of a difference it can make. So an A minus in student got in general an A minus. You can see that scale score 17.27, and that was the general math scaling for that grade was negative 0.6. So it went down, it scaled down 0.6 and ended up with this. Whereas a student did methods and was able to get a B with the best effort, and the scaling, it went up by 1, the scaling. However, the grade allocated to B was much less, so it ended up with 15.53, okay? And so that resulted in these two differences. A student who did the general and got that grade ended up getting a higher ATAR than the student who got did methods. Even though the scaling is different, there's a 1.6 difference between the two. But what made the big difference is the subject grade, not the scaling. That's what I want to get across to the students, to choose the subjects strategically. Yeah, so just I'll put something here for them to make a SMART goal. So specific, measurable, achievable, so don't overload yourself, relevant, and it needs to be time bound. Okay, so the workload, we don't want them to burn out. We see students burn out in year 11, it's a problem. When we see students not take year 11 seriously, it's another problem. They want to, I don't know, hit the boost button in year 12, it does not work. Usually I say year 9, year 10 is really critical for them to step their study habits. It's still not too late into the year 10, still got that chance to maintain the study habits or improve it. So success comes from effort, consistency, and smart planning. And we're here to help the students with the planning. All right, so we also have adjustment factors. The SATAC has adjustment factors, and there's lots of information on that. So we call those bonus points. Now, there is one based on the location of the school, of course, disadvantage, social economic background, this and that. We don't really have that here at the school. What we do have for this, it depends on the subject students choose. They're eligible for bonus points if they do certain literacy subjects, languages, and mathematics. And this is what it's called, University Language Literacy and Mathematics Scheme. And they can get every stage 2 subject is worth 2 bonus points. They can get 2 bonus points, a maximum of 4.
Can you hold your hand to stop? Yeah. Should be fine now.
Thank you. I won't put my hand up. So to be eligible, these are the subjects students can do to, if they pass it, they get it. So we have those subjects like we have Arabic and Turkish at the moment, and they get 2 bonus points from that. We have English. There's English literacy studies which we don't offer. And English teacher said that probably it's the best just to keep English students would get higher with this one. Or if they do mathematical methods, if they do specialist mathematics, so they can get a maximum of 4 from here.
One question here, this adjustment factor, does it count towards medicine or not?
Yeah, that's I know. I'll tell you what counts toward. And so this is an example. So this student did Arabic and got 2 bonus points, passed and got 2 bonus points. And so this is the grade they'll get, this is the ATAR they'll get without the bonus points. The bonus points is added directly to the university aggregate, so which affects the ATAR more, because it's out of 90, ATAR goes up to 99.95. And so it was added, 2 bonus points was added to this, which reflected an ATAR of 92.37. This doesn't go to interstate university offers, it's not counted, it's only the raw. This is here, Adelaide, and it's not counted, it's in the book as well. It's not counted towards, so it's in that book you check, not count towards medicine. Yeah, and medicine related pillars. What counts is there's other adjustment factors. And so it says that, medicine state courses do not recognize these adjustment factors, but may recognize the other types, such as university equity scheme. So we have the school-based one, which we're not eligible for because we're not in the country. And we're not disadvantaged, we're not getting really low ATARs. And then we have the individual-based ones. And this is done through SATAC, we don't know about it. And this one is more those who get like a Centrelink card or healthcare card. Usually when one person's working and they're getting support from the Centrelink or the government, and they can get up to 7 bonus points. So a student can get up to a maximum of 9 bonus points added directly to the university aggregate. So a student who gets like a 96 ATAR can be eligible for medicine because it boosted up to like a 99 point something.
We should leave that job and get.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, exactly. That's what. 2 years, maybe.
What is the time limit for that one? How long we can leave?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I tell like 2 years in advance, maybe.
Rural area, not to the city.
If your address is a rural, that's another intake as well. But yeah, those who are eligible benefit from it. Those who aren't, unfortunately, need to go to the hard work.
That's a good shortcut.
And so, in order to maximize students' ATAs, then we guide them to either vet or university studies. So with the vet, we don't like if a student's going to end up. They want to get their SACE and they want to go and do trades like electrician. They're not going to get to university. They don't want to university. Then we suggest they do like start from certificate 2 in year 10 or year 11, do the electrode technology, and then certificate 3 in year 11, year 12, and then get to apprenticeship. The ones we offer, the ones we suggest, if they're going to get an ATA get into university, then do at least a certificate 3 and above because it goes towards their ATA calculation.
But that will not be counted towards medicine either.
Yes, it will. Because it counts towards the ATA calculation, the raw ATA calculation. So yes, it does. But so this is with vet. This is what you can get. So all you need, the student needs to pass it. If they pass the vet, then they get a grade. Where does a grade come from? It comes from the top 70 credits. So 20, 40, 60. So the top 3 subjects plus the last one, this one here, the last 10 credits. And they get an average of that, and then they make it out of 20, and they assign that grade too. So the higher these grades are, the higher that's going to be. The lower it is, the lower it's going to be. So it will depend on the performances for that. So if a student finishes the vet course before year 12 and they've only got stage 2 subjects, they do their stage 2 subject, they concentrate, they spend the time on this, which helps them to perform better and hopefully get a high.
So for example, if a student out of 90 in one subject, he wasn't able to, get good score, like A+, he ended up, say, B. And then this vet can replace that course or not?
If the student did 5 subjects, normally 5 subjects. If we cut the vet, it will be 5 subjects towards the ATA, and that 5th subject was the lowest one. It will be vet comes here, and that's pushed out of it, so it won't be used. And so that's why we say that depending on how well they do at the top 4 subjects, will determine how well that grade's going to be. But so the majority of the students want to do it, and this one here is not a good example because AIF grade usually students don't do too well. It's actually a good score, but I wanted to show how much it will affected by even with good scores. And so this student didn't do that, and so the highest grade. These were all the subjects that they've done, the minimum 90 credits, and then they did vet. And so what happened was the AIF was business here. The AIF was pushed out, and so they got half of the business instead. And without vet, they got that. With vet, it went up that much. So this one is not. I just want to show you that it goes up. Sometimes goes up a little bit. Sometimes goes up a lot. It's depends on which subject and what was pushed out of the list and how much they got for that subject. For students who want to do medicine and are capable, we don't say do vet. We say do whatever you can to get into university studies. And these are 2 universities. Adelaide University gives a full scholarship. It's called the Activate program. And Flinders University gets a half a scholarship, and you pay for the other half. And it's called extension studies. Right now, I'm finding students are getting higher for this one than that. I don't know, maybe because of the merger. I don't know the reason. Maybe based on the student as well. But they are university studies, and they do offer different subjects. So we want students to choose the one that they're able to do well in. And there is a requirement. So they can do 2 semesters, they can do 1 semester. If they do 1 semester, they get 20 credits. If they do 2 semesters, they get 20 credits, and that's the maximum they can get towards the ATA. And so it opens at the end of year 11, is competitive entry. There's an application process. If a student is not accepted, then they stop, because they apply at the end of year 11, they get in year 12. If they don't get in, then we push students to just go do a vet, because it probably help. Some students like to do both, so they want to finish vet early and get a certification, get a qualification, and just in case if they're not accepted into university studies. It's totally based up to the students and parents. And so all year 11 grades should be B and above. The higher it is, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll be better. It just depends on how many students have chosen that subject. If that class is full and they got mostly A's, but all the students in that class got A's and it's full, then they may not be able to get that offer. So preferably they look at students who also complete a stage 2 subject. Now, students who complete a stage 2 subject in year 11, now that we've got maybe 2 or 3 subjects being completed, more likely that may be preferred. So it increases their chance of getting in. And the reason why we recommend capable students to do it is because of the outcome. This is not affected by scaling. It does not go up or down. It's not affected by the subjects that they did like that. If they get high distinction, which necessarily starts from 85% at the university, 85% higher, it's 10 out of 10. If they get below 85, get slightly below 85, it's distinction 9.9 out of 10. Still really good. Even credit is good, 9 out of 10. But compared to the grades they can get for the VET or the SACE stage 2 subjects, if they can get these, and we have students getting them, it increases the grade a lot. So the reward is great, but only for, I say only students who can take it. Some students won't be able to deal with it. And then the pass, just passing gets them 7.9 out of 10, which is still good. And so this is an example. Student without university studies. Okay, and student who did university studies and got distinction for both semesters, so got 9.9 plus 9.9. So 19.8 out of 10, not affected by scaling, got this ATAR. So all the students aiming for that top grade, going to the those schools, even the university schools, they push students to, they encourage them to get to university studies. So there is this competition.
So sorry, but how do
Yes.
we know, because it's the first time, and that might be a very silly question, but how do we know which course at the university to get enrolled for, and how does that procedure work? Because I as a parent, I'm ignorant. So
Yeah.
where do I go first?
Yeah, so I've got links here, and they take you straight to the site that has the subjects and then information about the subjects.
Yeah.
And then also some subjects they can't do if they're doing a certain say subject at school. There's preclusions,
Yeah.
but there's not many, and it shows it there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we have a student studying psychology and also doing psychology. The topics are not exactly the same, so they're allowed to do it. But it may change every year, so we need to check. The subject selection, this is just the advice I gave to students. And this is in the handbook as well. That was on the slide here. I had the picture, and you can just click onto the link and go to the handbook. So be aware of the prerequisites and assume knowledge subjects at school and tertiary level. Research the requirements of your future career choices. Be courageous but realistic about what you're considering. Your ability to cope with the academic content of the subject. Your interest, because if some students are not interested, so they don't bother, they don't want to do the work. And then your previous performance. You know, if you're not doing well in that subject, you know, think about it. Will you be able to do well? Choose your strengths. And then seek advice from subject teachers. They know more about your capabilities in the subject that they're teaching and can give advice accordingly. Students who've studied the subject before, but it can be very subjective. So I've heard a couple of things. So I say, you know, use your judgment. And then choose subjects that you feel confident about. Use all possible sources of help information. I've got links all here for you. And then understand the selection process. Also, the interstate international prerequisites. There are minimum prerequisite requirements, like I said before. Like if you're going interstate, usually they want in English, so it's not wise to drop English in year 12. But some students who wanted to increase the chance of getting to medicine into interstate, they need the English, so they did English as an extra subject, and they just put enough effort in just to pass it. But it's not going to be counted towards ATAR because they're doing enough subjects to go towards ATAR, so they'll be smart about it. Don't just drop a subject in semester 2 if you're not aware and sure of it. So we make sure that students, when there's a process that they need to follow, if they want to drop or pick up a subject, it goes through me, and I check and I ask them, you know, if they're considering to go, if you're moving over interstate, or if you're considering to state, send them interstate, or to increase their chance of getting to a course interstate, then certain stuff they need to keep. And so the selection rounds, we have round 1 and the final round. So round 1 ends, it's handed to students. And this is we're going to set the lines based on what they choose, and then the final round will be these are the lines, choose your subjects for next year. And so round one, it's been shared with the students last week, and then it's due this Sunday, so you can speak with them now that you've got this and they've got the information on choosing the subjects. Some students already submitted it, but they can go into the link and just change it. It's open. It'll be closed in noon, and we just look at the student preferences. And then the final round, we'll set the lines, and the final round will go out week 5. That's our aim, week 5 Wednesday. But if it gets difficult, it might take us more time with the school allotments and the timetable and all, because sometimes we have one teacher teaching 2 subjects and they can't be in the same line, they need to be at different lines. And so it might take us longer, and we'll let you know when it opens and when it will close if it changes. And if a student wants to change a subject, they've chosen their lines, but then they want to change it, they have until next year, week 2 of term 1 to make that change. We want to know, we don't want the whole class changing and then the timetable is going to change. It won't be possible to do that once everything's set, but it's just any minor ones. What happens after the final rounds? This is what I told the students. So even after they choose their subjects, if I see that they've chosen subjects they're not eligible for, even though I went through all of this, then I'll speak to them. If I see that if they're not doing well in the subject and chosen one, then I'll speak to them and see the reason why. And request some changes if possible. At the end of term 3 and during term 4, we will have a meeting with the students, me and the career advisor, me and all, regarding the subject selections, because they would have met with the career advisor already and made their career plans, and then just talk about that if it needs to change or if they change in their mind. And then you and the students will be sent the final subjects that they'll be doing. Just confirming, everything needs to be confirmed. We share with parents as well, just to make sure that they're on this, they're not accepted. Am I going back or forward? Yeah. Yeah. So then this is the contact of the contacts at this campus, and you have access to this, and the contacts at GG campus, Golden Grove. And I'll just keep this here if you can. This will take you to the slides, PD, and you can save it. So if you want to scan it now or look at the recording later. So yeah, probably best to scan this one and just download it.
Just one. Just one, that's it.
Yeah.
Not lots of slides.
Yeah, just the one.
Cool.
If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them. I'll close the live feed.
You look exhausted, you've been talking constantly.
Oh yeah, I think I went over time. We did start a bit late. And yeah, there's prayer as well, so it doesn't go in here.
Go back to the slide with the grading.
Yeah. Let me just where do I turn this up? Yeah.
It's on the YouTube, so we can